Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I will be recapping When Calls the Heart Season 8 Episode 4. I have been putting this off for 2 days now. It is currently 10:15 at night on Wednesday, St. Patrick's Day. So, and I have an early morning tomorrow. I have to wake up and be at school no later than 9 o'clock. So I'm going to do this very short. The Canfields arrive in Hope Valley in this episode. The Canfields, Joseph, Minnie, and their two kids, Angela and Cooper, arrive in Hope Valley. Elizabeth invites Angela and Cooper to attend school, but learns that Angela is blind and Minnie insists on homeschooling her. During a chat with Elizabeth, Minnie shares that she's experienced cruelty in her past. The Canfields are black, a welcome, if belated, first in Hope Valley. That's in parentheses. But her main concern with sending Angela to school isn't racism. Rather, it's that she'll be bullied because of her blindness. Elizabeth insists she wouldn't let that happen, but Minnie conveys how naive she thinks that is with a pointed look. Elizabeth's intentions are good, but Minnie knows that alone may not be sufficient to keep her daughter safe. Angela's blindness and Elizabeth's attempts to integrate her into the school setting seems likely to be a storyline going forward, but whether When Calls the Heart tackles the issue of race more directly remains to be seen. Right now, the residents of Hope Valley appear basically colorblind, but the family arrives offers the show an opportunity to explore what life might have been like for a black family on Canada's frontier. And it goes into Lee and Rosemary's family grows in a surprising way. Like Elizabeth, the Coulters have an overprotective mother on their hands. Lee's sister, Susanna, is visiting with her teenage daughter, and Rosemary is eager to play the cool aunt role. But when Rachel, Lee's niece, shows up wearing pants and makeup after an afternoon at Dottie's with Rosemary, Susanna freaks out and blames it all on Rosemary. However, like Minnie, Susanna has good reasons to be worried about her daughter. Rachel is getting older, and the big city of Bellingham is full of kinds of dangers. She comes to Hope Valley to ask Lee and Rosemary to take Rachel for a little while. Lee hesitates, but Rosemary quickly says they'll be delighted. Rosemary and Lee have long dreamed of becoming parents. While a newly grown niece isn't exactly the baby they were imagining, it's an unexpected and touching way for them to achieve their goal in expanding their family. but Rosemary may not realize exactly what she's gotten herself into. She relishes being the fun aunt, but how will she handle it when she needs to be more of a parent and less a friend to Rachel? Then it goes to Nathan defends himself. Ooh. Meanwhile, Nathan prickly side is on full display as he spars with Hargraves during the inquiry into the prisoner transfer shooting last year, or that happened last year. Hargraves has it out for Hope Valley's bounty, but Nathan isn't doing himself any favors with his sarcastic responses. It's almost as if he's trying to get fired. And then this is in parenthesis. Maybe he thinks no longer being a Mountie will open the door to a relationship with Elizabeth. Close parenthesis. Eventually, we get a partial explanation for Hargraves' amnesty toward Nathan. Nathan apparently disobeyed orders while under his command and at an earlier posting. Though there are hints that that's not the whole story. In any case, Nathan tries to justify his split-second decisions during the prisoner transfer, but it's really his niece Allie tearful defense of him that makes a difference. Hargraves, who turns out not to have a heart of stone, apparently ends the inquiry. Nathan's career as a Mountie is safe, but the inquiry has raised some big questions about his past. Earlier, Allie slipped to Elizabeth that Nathan was stationed at Fort Clay 3 years ago, the same place where that's the same time Jack would have been stationed there. Nathan previously told Elizabeth he never served with Jack. Now she asked now she asks a more specific question. Did he meet Jack? Did you ever meet Jack? Nathan replies, no. But there is more to that story. Could Nathan be linked to Jack's death? We'll find out, hopefully. Any connections would bring up a lot of emotions for Elizabeth, who has only just started to move on from her loss of her husband. This next part drives me absolutely nuts. Elizabeth and Lucas's big moment. Finally, this episode has bookended by two scenes. It's broken down by two scenes with Elizabeth and Lucas, who were not so friendly. Were not so friendly terms when we last saw them. First, Elizabeth happens upon Lucas passed out. Oh, Elizabeth walks into the library and finds Lucas passed out reading. He tells her that he fell asleep while balancing the books. However, it's hard not to suspect he stayed up all night reading sad poetry and feeling sorry for himself. They have an awkward conversation, but neither is willing to extend an olive branch. At this point, things aren't looking good for these two. Then it says, But the situation changes in a big way in the episode's final minutes. They clear the air during a serendipitous meeting outside the saloon. Elizabeth explains that she turned down Nathan and indicates she's interested in moving on with Lucas. Or it says moving forward with Lucas. They're interpret they are interrupted before they can arrange a real date. But Lucas basically floats off at the end of the episode, beaming from ear to ear. This scene is sure to leave members of Team Lucas thrilled, while those on Team Nathan will be deeply disappointed. Elizabeth appears to have made a decisive choice. It's hard to see how she could flip flop back and forth between Nathan and Lucas without coming across as incredibly fecal, I guess. But there are still 8 more episodes to the season, and anything can happen. I'm gonna say it right now. I am for Team Nathan. I like Chris McNally, who plays Lucas. But Lucas, as a character, no. I he's too like he holds stuff back from Elizabeth. Well, so does Nathan, but that's you see why in this episode. So, and then it says, um, here a spoiler alert for the next episode. So we see Lucas and Elizabeth on a bridge, and Lucas tells Elizabeth that he won't be at the graduation ceremony because he doesn't want it to look like they're dating to Nathan, so he isn't going to be there. So, yeah. Okay, that's all I have for this episode. I'll see you next week when I recap episode 5. All right. Peace, love, happiness. Bye, guys.